Welcome back to What Arty Noobs for General Disturbance. This is a 212A Tier 9 Soviet SPG. It's located on the north spawn of Prokhorovka and it's under the command of General Disturbance. Yes, my account again. You can see I've only got one mark on this barrel. I haven't been playing it as much as I should, but I actually do enjoy, and you can see, yep, I have got an ace tanker on this one. Okay, so we're moving off into the bushes. Now, I've actually tried a variety of positions on this map, and I found that it actually does help. If you start from this position here, because you've got the bushes to protect you from anybody who comes up, but as far back as possible, and then change position as and when you need to. Keep moving in between shots, because otherwise the enemy will work out where you are. E100 rounds out. Not a very good shot. Only 100 hit points. But again, just change position slightly to avoid counter battery. You don't need to make a huge amount of change. Right, the enemy team's got an EBR 90. Now I follow him for a moment, for a brief moment, and then go back to looking for an E75 who was seen in the vicinity. Now, a lot of people don't like Prokhorovka because they consider it a bit of a camping map. But it is actually quite a fun game for Arty. E75 takes a big hit, and I'm pulling back, changing position, just in case somebody sends a calling card in my direction. E75 still in sight. His stun's worn off, so I'm ready to put a new shot into him. 30.41 seconds is the reload time. I use vents, and I also use vent purge. That increases the reload speed by improves the reload speed by actually enabling me to get a better crew and crew response. Now, sometimes if you run out of vent purge directives, you can actually pay for them. It's 20,000 credits extra, and if you're using food as well, which I do on this Arty and all of my Artys for that matter, it can be expensive, but it is worthwhile. You get the results that make the difference. Now, we saw an Object 430 go through the field of view there, but I'm expecting him to go back to that little dip there, waiting for him to appear. No sign of him. So I know that there's going to be enemies behind that bush, because there normally is. So I send a round in just to upset them if they are anyone at home. And pull back, being careful not to knock the trees down while I'm going. I do sometimes accidentally knock the trees down. It's unfortunate when I do that, but you can't always be careful. Okay, E100's next target. The guy I put a round in front of but didn't actually manage to hit last time. This time the shell overflew and went right into the target. So it does actually help on occasion to actually over aim or under aim on the target, and then RNG actually decides whether it goes long or goes short. If I'd aimed directly at the tank, I probably would have got no hit, because it probably would have overflown over the top of him and landed long behind him. But by aiming just at the base of the vehicle, the shell actually overflew right into him. Now, I saw the E75 there originally, so I fired in that general direction. I've not moved much in from that position, but the enemy doesn't seem to be counter batterying at the moment, so I feel fairly secure. Object 430U didn't go back into the dip. He's actually rocking backwards and forwards around that bush. And that's a very poor behaviour by some tank drivers who feel safe if they're rocking backwards and forwards in the same spot. But it's actually a false security, because you are spotted because you've been seen there rocking backwards and forwards. You normally take damage as a result. And I think that Skoda just saw his Object 430 teammate take some damage. And that's why that glance behind him as he was pulling back was because he was looking at his Object 430 teammate. Okay, the T50 is a one-shot. He's a splash kill, actually. So I only need to land the shell near him. Oh, and now we've got a different target, an IS-7. I expected him to go straight forwards, and that's why the shell wasn't on target, and I only got 74 out of that one. But it did stun him, and I'm getting stun assist, so that's good. He's pulled back into the dip, where he'll stop and change direction, I think. No, I think that 430 probably is still there, but can't be certain. Ah, now we saw a tree go over here. That's normally an indication somebody's home. I just saw the bushes and the tree go down a little further on, so I realised then, oops, I made a bit of a boo-boo there. He actually moved on from that position, went through the fences. Okay, the E75 has now been replaced by an AE Phase 1. Just took 2 massive shots. I'm not loaded yet. The Object 430 is back in its old position again. Yeah, he obviously thinks he's got some security being in that spot. Yeah, still rocking backwards and forwards with the bush. Not a very good move. And he pays for it. That tracked him. Yeah, always watch for a player like that who's rocking backwards and forwards on the same spot, because basically they feel comfortable doing that, but in actual fact they're actually making it worse for themselves, because it's very obvious that they're not going to move or change position. Now we've got a leopard now, that's the guy who was knocking down the trees, using them for cover. I fire around in, land alongside him, and I pick up 317, but he lost most of his hit points in that shot. Always wonder about that. You only get 317 hit points, but you can actually see minus 1,000 against the actual vehicle. So you realise that in actual fact that vehicle's virtually lost everything. And in fact actually the leopard went down the cliff face and crashed at the bottom. So yeah, he's died of his own hand. Switching back to the AE Phase 1 and the E75. I'm not fully dialed in. Just getting there. Rounds out. Direct hit on his front. 448. And he's taken out the next shot. So I picked up stun assist. So 2,226 hit points of actual damage done so far. And now we see the E100 come to sight again. It looks like a few heat rounds have hit him as well, because he's got some purple marks on his vehicle. Okay, we've marked him as target. Lining him up. Getting him ready. Oh, somebody whacked him there. That was in fact actually a Death Star that got him right through the side. Okay, I've marked the IS-7 to tell everyone that's where I'm looking. Rounds out behind him. Okay, hopefully that landed alongside him. I'm not changing position now because there's just absolutely no counter battery coming my way, but I should be changing position every now and then just to make sure. Okay, going back to the hill because there's still 3 enemy tanks up there. I have a feeling that there's somebody in those bushes there. No evidence for that other than the fact that obviously the leopard did knock down some of the bushes, some of the trees rather than some of the fences. Unfortunately, we've got nobody up there on the hill to actually spot for us, so at this moment we're just not certain where the enemy is. I need my team to push if we're going to get any more damage. And we're still 1 tank down on the enemy, so they could still win this. There's the Skoda, and he doesn't live very long. And there's the 430, and yes, he went straight back to that same position he liked so much, the pair of bushes. Rounds out on him. And I think that one landed alongside him as well. Something you may notice I do every time I fire, I will click the C button, which obviously is key to reload. Sends a message into chat to say I'm reloading. Obviously you can use the F8 key instead if you wish. That does the same effect. But it just puts a message in chat saying I'm reloading and how long before my next shot is ready. Our team are starting to move south on the west side of the map, which now gives me the courage to actually change my aim in this direction. And we just lost our T-57 Heavy to their Object 430U. I fired a round in, and then before I actually got to see what happened to that shell, switched back to the Object 430U. It's using a different set of bushes this time. If they can keep him in sight. And I think it's the STB and the mouse who are now spotting him. Oh, just lost it. I've marked the spot. Send a round in there. He is still there. And he takes the round for 311. And now he's a splash kill. Okay, the enemy Badger and their Foch are in sight, and actually I did fire the round in precisely where they were. We didn't see them at the time, but the minimap told me that there was a Badger and a Foch down there, and so I fired the round in. Rounds out on the Badger. It lands short, but it tracks him in position. I just lost sight of all of them. Our guys stopped as far as the bowl, so they haven't moved further south. The 907's picked up the courage to go. He's probably the fastest of the tanks in that group, so yeah, it'd be easy enough for him to make the move. I've fired around in where the Badger was, but I'm looking around now, try and work out. Oh, there's the enemy Gorilla. Finally made an appearance. Now, he doesn't have any kills to his name, but of course he does have that 15cm gun, so I really need to pay attention to him. Our guys have gone up the hill now. And I guess they don't want to get hit by that 15cm if they can help it. Okay, we're loaded, but we still don't have sign of the Gorilla. There he is. Rounds out on where he was. And all it does is stun him. I saw shell flying there from one of the enemy tanks. The mouse is the one that's going in to get the Gorilla. And he forces the Gorilla to change position, which enables the others to track him. And I think he's going to be... Yes, he's gone. The IS-7 went over the edge of the cliff. He's actually down in the dip. There you go. He's trying to make his way out of there. I'm loaded. Just trying to get a shot on him right now. Difficult shot because he's in the lip of that dip. But I managed to track him. I got 345, even though it says 600 on the hit. And he's now one shot. We've had the 2-minute warning, by the way. And the last two enemies is this 50 TP and their Arty, which is a Batchat 155-55. I fire around at the 50 TP. Long flight time for the shell. Lands alongside him for 208, but he's pulling back. And there's the Batchat. I've marked him as the next target, but he gets taken out. Killed by the Conway. So the 50 TP is going to be the last one. Not loaded yet, but my teammates are going to get there probably before I do. And I would not be surprised to see him down. And there we go. That's the end of the game. So we came back from being behind and eventually won. Now let's have a look at the end of battle stats and see how well I managed to get in that one. Well, that was an ace tanker, that game. I managed to get also a bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits. In this one I managed to get 18. a Gauze medal for doing more damage than 8 times the hit points of my own vehicle, and a Confederate as well for hitting more of the enemy than anyone else on my team. My win rate was 4007, which is Super Unicum standard. Now I said where's my high caliber, but I didn't actually check that at the start of, or the end of the battle rather, I still hadn't achieved 20% of the enemy hit pool in total, and that's why I didn't get the high caliber. I did get the highest damage in the game though, with 4,839 hit points on that one. The next highest scorer being the enemy Skoda T50, was it? No, it's actually our T110E3, sorry. 3,734 to him. Then it's 3,547 to the Skoda, and then 3,539 to the Death Star. When it came to kills though, it was actually the Death Star did the best with 4 kills. Conway got 4. And I didn't get any kills whatsoever in that game, but I did a lot of damage. When it came to base XP, I was top of the table with 1,132, 986 to the 907, 963 to the STB-1. I fired 21 rounds, got 6 direct hits, no penetration but 20 splash. Damage of 4,839 hit points, all of it at more than 300 meters. I earned 68,374 credits from the game and 8,490 experience points. Quite a good one because I got a mission completion which gave me a huge amount extra. So you don't always get the high caliber, no, but you can be doing huge amounts of damage to the enemy. And I think it was the sheer relentless amount of damage I was piling on the enemy bit by bit by bit that was actually wearing them down. And my teammates were then getting the kill steals, they were securing the kills, I should say, by taking these guys out after I depleted them most of their hit points. But it just goes to show that in a decent battle in the 212A, you can have a lot of fun. It's quite a good arty. It's got a very narrow arc of fire, but it does dial in quickly, and if you use, as I said, vents and vent purge to improve the performance of your crew, it can make a huge difference to the amount of targets you can hit in a game. And remember, this Arty is the big 203mm howitzer, the B4 howitzer, which means that you are hitting them with a heavy 8-inch round every time, capable of 1050 alpha. And the thing is that the reload time is very fast for an 8-inch. It's only about 30 seconds, so you are pumping out a lot of ammo downrange, and if you get enough hits on the target, you're bound to come out with good results like this, be at top of the table, and enjoy yourself in the game, because it is a lot of fun, the 212A. And I hope you've got one. If you haven't got one, do get one, because yes, you will enjoy it. It's really, really good fun. So, I hope you've enjoyed that replay. If you did, please give it a like, and thanks for watching.